We've had a good number of baby birds in the garden this year, starting in late April, May, June, and even some of the blackbirds having a second brood in July. So these are the young great tits. You can see the colouring there is not quite as vivid as the adults. What I always like about baby birds is they're so keen on food. They don't have a large repertoire of where to find food, so as soon as the adult shows them where the food is, that's where they come, day after day. This is a whole family of blue tits. Now I hope that they are the blue tits that nested in the nest box on the house, but I'm pretty sure that these birds are all siblings, brothers and sisters. This is a young blackbird. He knows he should have a bath, but he's not quite sure how to do it. Now for some reason the blackbird on the right, the young blackbird, he's actually pulling up mud as if he's going to build a nest. And this one needs to get in the water before he starts doing the flapping around. Otherwise it's... oh, we're in. We've found the water and here we are with one of our first baths of our lifetime. They soon get into it once they realise what they're supposed to do. And then after the bath, they can sit on the patio and preen themselves and dry off. There's a small colony of sparrows that live in the beech hedge along one side of the garden, and here are the offspring this year. When one does something, they all realise, yep, that's the thing to do. It's so funny to see them copy each other. As soon as one bird does something, then they all have to do it. It's all about discovery of what is food and what isn't. And here's the father sparrow. Beautiful, beautiful markings, black markings on his chest. And here we have the long-tailed tits. Now again, these are all siblings, brothers and sisters. I don't know where they nested, but they come in the garden every single day. They absolutely adore fat balls and also the fat that's in the coconut. They're the tamest of the birds in the garden. If I'm setting up the camera just 5 feet away, they will actually come down and feed on the fat balls and totally ignore me. They've got a lovely chirping sound when they're all together. I put this spade here because I wanted a picture of a robin on a spade. Classic British picture. And of course this juvenile robin sees a spade and knows what it's got to do. Pose. As I mentioned in the Starling video, I don't often get starlings. The starling's more or less on his own at the moment. His friends are on the lawn. He's not quite sure what to do. But he has been shown that you're supposed to have a bath in the bird bath or the pond. And he's quite confident he's going in the pond, but no, you've got to get in the water before you do that. Go on, in the water. Go on. Yes, that's it, the water. Good for you. They certainly get the idea very quickly. All birds seem to enjoy having a bath. This is the part of the pond that most of them come to. Sometimes they go in the pond and sometimes they go in the bird bath. So that's his first bath out of the way, and he'll be back for more later. Back to the long-tailed tits. Now, as I mentioned in one of the garden tours, this flowering currant actually died. And I'm going to plant maybe a clematis up it. And for some reason, these young long-tailed tits seem to like jumping around in this shrub. I feel they don't really know what to do, but they have a little jump around and peck this and that. Nice foreground there with the dahlias. I love it when they stay together and move round as a group. Now he wants a clean beak, doesn't he? They've probably been on the fat balls and are cleaning the fat off their beaks. So these are the seeds and the fat balls that are hanging from the apple tree. And let's see what we've got on the seeds at the moment. The goldfinches. Goldfinches adore sunflower hearts. And here we have 2 juveniles and 2 parents. The adults are the ones with the red faces. Oh, back to the starling. Here's the other brother starling. Oops. Don't do that in my pond. And this was from earlier on when all the starlings arrived and were being fed by their parents. Starlings love mealworms. Right there, please. Lovely. I noticed one of my favourite birds, as I've mentioned before, because they are so good at singing, and it's the Dunnock. And it's one of the first young Dunnocks I've seen. They're insect eaters, so they'll be looking at where spiders are and insects under stones. And of course we had the wrens, didn't we, that I saw in the front garden a month ago. You can see it's a juvenile because it still has that yellow gape round its beak. There's a whole family in this tree and another one, so we're waiting for Mum and Dad to arrive. They're calling out. And here comes Mum now. It was lovely to see this family of wren. There were about 4 or 5 of them. The blue tit near the pond, just by the Wygela, having a look around at the world and seeing what's happening. There's nothing like a little stretch first thing in the morning. Everything's new. Everything's a wonder. Most of the birds find their way to the pond or the bird bath at some stage or another. This young sparrow's having a nice drink in the bath. This is the Himalayan honeysuckle that I like so much, Grandma's necklace. The birds all come together. They're either all in the garden or none of them are in the garden. They like to travel around together, even the different species of birds. But as soon as one comes, oops, what have we got here? We've got the female blackbird. Now this is a jay, and 2 jays were brought by their parent earlier on in the year. The parent showed the 2 youngsters what a fat ball was and what you're supposed to do. They've watched the other birds, and so what they can do, let's see if we can do it. Yeah, not bad for a first attempt. And here's the brother and sister. They often come to the garden now. They've got little crest, as you can see. They can raise the crest on top of their head. They're just eating some of the bits of fat that have fallen off the fat balls. There are also some sunflower hearts that have been dropped from the feeder. They'll eat anything. Particularly fat balls. You don't often see the young blue tits on the ground. They prefer up in the bushes and the shrubs. Lots of them spend some time in the apple tree because that's where the food is as well. Here we have a very young blackbird, wondering what's happening, calling to the parent. This is a favourite spot for him. He likes it here, underneath the spirea and the weigela. He can look out at the world from his private residence. First time I've seen young chaffinches. Before I started filming, the parent brought the two youngsters here. This is underneath the sunflower hearts that have been dropped. Little Dunnock in the background. There's always a Dunnock around somewhere. This is the Japanese willow next to the pond. The blue tit seems interested in the leaves. I'm actually wondering whether they're having a drink, some moisture in the leaves. But for such a young bird, he's confidently, or she, is confidently moving around and seeing what there is to eat and drink. You can just make out the yellow at the corner of his beak, which will soon disappear as the fledgling grows. I love the way his feet hold on tightly to the petals. Very acrobatic and confident at such a young age. And then up into the apple tree where Mum or Dad is. There's usually a Dunnock somewhere on the lawn. And over by the shed, we have the family of Wren. So they've moved into the back garden now and spend most of their time in the back garden. We don't often see wrens because they're very secretive and they're usually in the undergrowth looking for spiders and little insects. However, these wren are one of our most common birds in Britain. You can always tell it's a wren because he has his little tail vertical. And it's a warm day today. So let's do a little bit of sunbathing. Birds love to sunbathe. Now this is a first. This is the first time I've seen a young woodpecker in the garden. Woodpeckers often come to the garden every other day. These are great spotted woodpeckers, and we get the male and the female parents. And then this time I saw this bird and I thought, he looks young. The reason I'm pretty sure it's a young woodpecker is because the red that's at the base of the tail is very light coloured. Look how light it is. In the adult, it's a really strong red, similar red to the red on the top of their head. So the parents have brought the youngster. I don't know where from, I don't know where they nested. One thing all the woodpeckers do, the parents and the chick, is they always go to the apple tree first. They have a little look around the apple tree, then they go to the fat ball, then from the fat ball they go back to the apple tree, have a quick look around and then fly off. It's their little routine. Now he or she is having a nice bath, this blackbird. I cannot tell yet whether it's a male or female. In fact, what I would like to know is this a thrush? Could this be a thrush, a young thrush? I just can't tell whether it's a young thrush or a young blackbird. But here we have two blackbirds. They've obviously been shown you have a bath here, and the far blackbird is trying to have a bath, but you've got to get in the water first. It's so funny when they're trying to have a bath, but they're not yet in the water. Hey, leave my creeping flocks alone. You're supposed to be in the water for your bath. Calling out for a bit of help and advice from the parents. No, I don't think that water's deep enough. No, I know it's wet, but it's not deep enough for the bath. Go on, up on the bird bath, go on. Yes, we're up on the bird bath. Here we go. First bath of our lifetime. Yep, the water's there. Go on, you can do it. Come on. Come on. Oh, I wasn't thinking of that. It's lovely, come on in. Let the blue tit show you how it's done. You're a bit scruffy, you do need a bath. I love the way he put one foot in first and then the other foot to check how deep it was. This female blackbird has learnt to swing on the fat balls. It's nice to know that all the birds have got plenty of food to eat. They're in good condition, and these birds will be making nests in the garden next year. So there are the birds that were in my garden this year. The class of 2020 now know how to have a bath, they know where the food is, and they'll be out looking for mates and breeding in the garden and the surrounding area next year. Fabulous.